Often when we talk about ageing, we start from the perspective that there's going to be more and more older people. And sometimes that's cast in a negative light, as if there's a tsunami of older people that's going to send us broke. I don't think that's a good place to start. I think we should be saying that we are about creating fair, cohesive and equitable societies, places that everybody would want to live in, and we're all going to be old one day, if we're lucky. So the first thing to learn is that ageing is a period of incredible diversity of health, of diversity of circumstance. And in fact, the older you get, the bigger that diversity becomes. And we need to understand that you can't just have a deal with a typical older person. You need to somehow develop responses which can address the needs of that very broad range of people. And so the first thing I think to learn is to shift from this idea of the stereotype of somebody who's old to understanding it's a very broad experience. I think in terms of health systems, we're working very hard to try and provide some concrete guidance on what is integrated care for an older person. How do you assess an older person, and what are the pathways which will then lead to them receiving the care that they need? Because often what we do when we're talking at a global level is we talk lovely motherhood statements. We have to be concrete. And so I think that will provide a very clear guidance for what the health system can do. Long-term care is more challenging. There's many countries in the world where there is nothing. There are parts of Africa where if you're a woman and you develop dementia, you can get sent to a witch's camp or chained to a tree for the rest of your life. And even where families are there to look after people who require it in those countries, that's a very inequitable burden that's often borne by women. So we need to create something different. And we're starting to have that discourse, but it's going to be different in every setting. And we have to start with the basics. We're talking about transforming society, and we're also talking about system innovations, changing systems in health systems and long-term care systems. So yeah, innovation is central, and unlike some places where you go, I think the more people talk about innovation, the less they do. Here we're really talking about innovation and some of the really creative ways we can solve what is one of the biggest challenges and opportunities that society is going to face in the 21st century.